Hello, I'm Daviga Pollan, and here are some of the top stories making the headlines on Al Jazeera. U.S. President Barack Obama says the military has presented him with options for strikes against Syria, but he has not yet made a decision. Obama says that the aim of any military action would be to deter future chemical weapons attacks. Patty Culhane has more from Washington, D.C.
People really aren't talking about what happens after an attack. The president was clearly trying to send the message that anything he chooses would be limited, it would be quick, it would be effective. But the question is, okay, what happens after, let's say, they launch a cruise missile strike? For example, the president said the goal would be to make sure control of the chemical weapons doesn't erode further. How could a cruise missile strike make that more or less likely to happen? That hasn't been asked. The Obama administration says the goal is not regime change, but what happens if Assad falls? What happens if al-Qaeda-related groups take control of Syria? The other question that hasn't really been discussed is what if the president does send this message and it's ignored? Chemical weapons are used again. What would the U.S. do after that? Those really haven't been discussed, but I imagine as the days continue to drag out, more and more people will begin to ask those questions.
Protesters in the UK are angry at their leader's support of the UN Security Council's decision to back military action against the Syrian government. Prime Minister David Cameron called a meeting of ministers on Wednesday. A motion will be discussed in the British Parliament on Thursday, urging action only after a report on the alleged attack. A U.S. Army psychiatrist who went on a shooting rampage at an Army base in Texas 4 years ago has been sentenced to death. Nidal Hassan killed 13 people and wounded more than 30 in the attack at Fort Hood. You can find all the latest on all those stories and more at aljazeera.com.